I'm not sure if this is day 16 or 17 on this build, Freightliner X Firetruck. Except for the airbags, the holder suspension's done. Everything was powder coated. That could be easy powder coated. Obviously those are too heavy. What's bull crap is we spent $7,000 to have the axle rebuilt. Look at that. Look at that. That's just full of grease or dirt and grime. You would think for $7,000 it would have looked like that. That was cleaned, but that was done by a different guy who rebuilt that part. Yeah, extremely not happy with those people. In case you haven't figured out, this is going to be a rollback. That's a subframe for the aluminum deck, which is behind me outside. That's not going to be fun. When we went to air ride, I had to pull dry shafts because the front one, we shortened it, and we shortened it because when we first built it, we had to put spacer blocks in there. Well, now, since it had to be cut shorter, we can pull those spacer blocks out. And so currently this is day 2 or 3 of the Hitch build. The Hitch will be like that. I still got to plasma cut the front part to get the bigger tube through. And we got to drill a hole in it. And then that bar there is going to wrap the end of it for extra support. Then we can make this however long we need it. The deck comes out to about 15 inches past the subframe, something like that. So anyways, this is what the Hitch looks like that we're building. This came off a, dang, that's heavy. This came off a crew cab railroad truck. It was welded onto the back. We cut the frame off and sold the truck. But as you can see, the big tube goes out the back, sticks out about a ½ inch. That way you get full weld both sides. A couple gaskets. You can see the wrap there, and we'll have to pin a hole there. That actually is closer to the end than what I thought. I may move it forward an inch or so. But that's basically what we're building. So yeah, they welded it here, but they took a piece of C-channel here to here and stuck it vertically, which being a C-channel doesn't match the thickness of the frame. It's off like a ½ inch, so it looks kind of stupid. I wanted to put a frame cut there, but my son didn't want to deal with it, so we just made it flush with the end of the frame. And those feet aren't adjustable, but the pins are there to pull the pads off. That's the light bar there. This goes across there. Yeah, so that's a good overview. I got to just plasma cut the underneath of that. Plasma cutting ½ inch plate steel sucks. Big time. So once I get that done, I'll drill a hole and then into that, wrap it, and then we can slide it all back together, put it and pin it, and so it ended up sliding forward about another inch from where it is. That sleeve. Putting the on box tubing, you got a seam. You can see it there. That will be on the top. There's really not a lot of downward weight on this. It's all held at the back. And there's the hole for the trailer wiring. So we'll have to run probably best to put a box back here since we got to have wiring here and for the trailer pin. Yeah, one of those boxes. We'll just pin it and run all the pins to the back off of here. There'll be a cross member across here. This side to this side. Once we get that in there, those light brackets come up here, then we'll just make a cable and another box to go from here to the back there. And then that way everything's back there. Now, when we originally built the subframe 5 years ago, we needed a big air tank because the truck it was on only had air suspension. This monstrosity has air ride, but spring suspension. We swapped the air ride. So that's like a big Craftsman tank. You can see the diameter is pretty huge, but we looked at different stuff to put up there, spare tire versus an air tank, and the air tank won. My son didn't want the air tanks hanging off the side. It wouldn't have bothered me, but it bothered him. It's his truck, so hey. And then you can see where the we welded the inner sleeve there. I wanted to make it adjustable, but that would be kind of hard on that one to make that adjustable. We checked with these tires, they're 37 inches. He's going with super singles, which are 42 inches tall. But with the 37 inch tall tires, the deck is at 11 degrees when we're lowered on the bump stops, and the deck is fully out to the bottom. A little steep, but we don't haul lowriders around. It's pretty much for our personal stuff. At some point, we may have to get those little ramps that you stick, that are rubber that you stick on the end to help get the front of the car up. The ones that are about 6 feet long. But yeah, new airbags over there in that box. But they don't get changed until probably the pumpkin's cleaned and painted, and I'm done plasma cutting, which will be shortly. The deck is going to be a 19-foot aluminum. It'll end up a couple inches from the cab. You'll have a headache rack on it. There's already a light bar up top there somewhere. I'll never see it. I'm not climbing up there. Brand new parts. Other than shit like that. I couldn't even bother to grease that. That's how bad that was. I think we're good. Have anything else to show you? I'll come back. I got my hole drilled for the pin. Now I'm wrapping the end for extra strength. Unfortunately, in all this mess, I have no freaking clue where a torch would be. Even a propane torch. So I guess I'm gonna have to weld up top to get enough heat in there so I can bend it, because it ain't going nice. It's being a pain in the ass. So you get it hot, you just wrap it around that tube. You keep on going all the way around and back up, and then you connect them. And then weld the whole thing both sides. And it's wrapped. Alright, I got the receiver part reinforced, got the hole drilled. It goes up here where that big hole is. And this piece will be where our actual hitch mounts. We're going to drill 3 holes in it. The other one's probably about, they're 9 inches apart, so however far 9 inches up there, that's too hot to handle for the moment. And next thing to do is get a hitch pin and go through there and see if it's, I probably have to ream that, but I want to make sure. And then we'll be to tack it up there. Once you control not to touch. I gotta take the Dremel, clean that out. That tool right there. Alright, got the piece tacked in. That'll be in reinforcement. There'll be 1 on each side and 2 on the top. So, like that on the top, 2 of them. And then then the bottom will look like that. Decided to put a 5th hole in the frame. 5/8 bolt. Reamed that one.